Here are 10 Xbox Game Pass suggestions for the month of February. Some of these are available right away, and some of these are releasing throughout the month. We're starting off with the Falconeer, which is a great showcase of next-gen technology, just in regards to this beautifully graceful, intense, combative aerial game. It's really quite gorgeous, it's fluid, it's got stunning visuals, an exciting environment to visit, and some really engaging combat and general gameplay that I think will really delight and excite those that want to jump into this graceful adventure in order to get a full context of what this has to offer, because it is such a visual and technical treat for the platform. It's nice to see it already become available under Game Pass, and I think it's definitely something worth hopping into if you want to get a little glimpse of next-generation gaming in full swing. Definitely not one to miss out on for sure. And that leads us into the second and really great title that is available. This is Injustice 2. So this is an excellent fighting game featuring a great cast of DC heroes. It kind of continues the events of the first Injustice game, but you can jump in here fresh and enjoy what the story has to offer, because it actually is quite well done. It's also got, like mentioned, a really stellar cast of interesting characters that are very different from the typical options that you might expect in a DC fighting game. They also have a host of different abilities, powers, and ultimates that they can unlock upon one another. It's a very well done list of features and game modes, whether you want to fight locally, against the AI, against friends, doing the multiplayer, working through the story. There's lots of different content and modes to engage in this one. It looks visually quite impressive, and it's also got a great roster of DLC characters if you want to go a little bit more wild with those that are fighting in this one. It's great. So this is Yakuza 4 Remastered. So this is the fourth main entry in the series, not counting Yakuza 0. This is a remastering of that title. It features multiple different perspectives and characters, and an interesting evolution of the series as you once again jump into these streets in order to understand unique perspectives, engage in combat, and enjoy a plethora of stories, both side stories and main ones as well. It's definitely packed with content and many engaging things that you can do in it. There are a ton of mini games, adventures, and great times to be had as you continue the story of, well, basically the main character, while also getting unique perspectives that help build out the universe in interesting ways as you understand more of what the Yakuza franchise has to offer as it gets bigger and bigger. And that really kind of kicks off with this particular entry, because it really does aim to be something more massive, more intense, and more action-packed than ever before. This is Desperados III, a really great authentic Western strategy title. You get a host of excellent characters that you need to kind of guide through different levels. Some of these levels are stealth-based, some of them are based on taking out opponents, others are really heavily focused on narrative. These levels are fairly lengthy, and how you move through them really is up to you. There's a lot of freedom and a lot of choice in how you want to tackle the situations. It's incredibly detailed, it's a lot of fun, it's quite graphic, it's very mature, and it's just a really unique sort of title because there's not too many that are really like this out there. And I think this third entry really brought the series into the spotlight because it's so well done, it's so interesting, it's so dynamic, and then there's elements of it just being a really great challenge that I think will be a lot of fun to people that want to kind of figure out, how do I do this, like how do I take advantage of the environment. It's great. This is the latest entry in the Pro Evolution Soccer PS series. So this is the seasonal update release, so they weren't able to really do anything too massive with the game in comparison to the previous year, so they kind of updated rosters, improved some things, and it really is just the latest version of this football/soccer simulation that provides a wide range of unique teams to play as, a large roster of stadiums to battle on the pitch within. It's just really well done, a lot of environmental things. It really is that previous version, but it's just updated and ready to go, which I'm sure is a big thing for a lot of fans of this particular sporting event that have been awaiting the latest edition. And it's an excellent option to have on Game Pass because it is a sporting-based title, and I know there are a lot of fans of what this series has to offer, so it's now available, and I think that is a really great thing. This is Cyber Shadow, a very interesting sort of combative kind of side scroller. It's really interesting. It's got a bumpin' soundtrack, really cool visuals. It's definitely a very different sort of environment, a health system you have to deal with, and it can be a little challenging as well. It's got cool monsters, and it's got like a really different sort of vibe to it, and that's why I kind of wanted to include it here, because you might actually know who it's from. But yeah, it's just kind of a really interesting title to jump into, and something that, once again, is very unique of an offering. And I try to find, when I'm doing these lists, a wide range of different genres for different people, and I think this kind of fits into something that is wildly different from the rest of my listing, and that's why I decided to include it here. It looks cool, flashy, neat animations, great art aesthetic, definitely something you might enjoy. This is Jurassic World Evolution. If you've ever wanted to be a park builder for the land of Jurassic World, well, there's also DLC for Jurassic Park, but you can kind of come in here, you deal with the different animals, whether they're carnivores or herbivores, and then there's also like people going around, so you have to like study new types of dinos, and you have to help them, and you have to take care of them. Sometimes the dinos will break out and they'll chase after people, and it's hilarious and awesome. But yeah, it's kind of a neat game that's got a lot of challenges and a ton of content added to it over the years. They update and support this one quite well. It's visually quite impressive. It's a stellar experience and definitely worth jumping into if you're a fan of the park building genre. I think this really does a great job of presenting something fun, engaging, exciting, and very different. And this is, again, just like one little example area of the game. This is Project Winter. So this is a very interesting multiplayer focused experience where you've got some players trying to work towards the objective and others trying to sabotage that progress. It's a very interesting art aesthetic, it's a neat multiplayer setup, and generally just quite a lot of fun. I think they did a really good job in regards to providing something unique, and it kind of, just has some really interesting mechanics to it that I think a lot of players will enjoy, find interesting, and want to check this out because it's very similar to some other party type games that have become very popular as of recent, and I can definitely see this one being a bit of a surprise hit for people because it really does come together in a very pleasing way from a visual standpoint, and also very interesting from a mechanic and gameplay standpoint as well. This is Assetto Corsa. So this is a premium intense car racing title, and I say premium as in the sense that they really do aim to go for more simulation in terms of being a competitive racing experience with certain vehicles. And yeah, you get a wide range of tracks, there's lots of different options for racing, different variants on the actual experience itself. You can kind of tune how intensive the experience is as well in regards to the actual driving mechanics of the game, and it really is something that I think is interesting for a particular type of racing audience because it is unique, and it definitely was a different sort of setup. It's also Italian for race setup, I guess you could say, and yeah, it's definitely a unique option if you are looking for something a little bit different when it comes to your racing games. So if you want something more realistic, I think this one kind of heads towards that. Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. So this was a very big change up for the Final Fantasy series in regards to really stepping up how you control and move within the game in the 3D space. Definitely a big adjustment for the series. This is the remastered effort for that particular title, and I think it's something that will resonate with a lot of fans of, well, Final Fantasy in general, and it's great to see the continued release of this series on the platform as more are set to come, and I think that in general is fantastic. Those are the suggestions for February. I hope you enjoyed this list. As always, I will be back next month with a fresh selection. Be sure to like the video so that more people can check it out if you found it interesting and helpful. Subscribing is cool as well.
I play the leading man. Who else?
Our ranks grow by the hour.
And